Okay. This is the cell. We're in competition. We never saw eye to eye when it came to political issues. But one thing that was uniting us was the prison itself, to fight horrible prison conditions here. Like when the time everybody had to sleep on the floor because there were no beds, when there were no glass windows, when there was no hot water in this prison, and so forth. We had a total of 21 hunger strikes here, the very first one being 1967. It was 5 days, and the last hunger strike here was 1989. Some hunger strikes did not achieve much, but we did say they failed. We didn't want to use the word failure here. We said we took a tactical retreat just to go and recover and go back again and on another hunger strike. The last hunger strike here was 19 days. It was in 1989, and that was the longest. Those who suffer from ailments that needed them to eat in order to take their medication, we exempted them from participating in the hunger strike, so they could eat anytime they wanted to. Our cooks here were also Porika prisoners. They stayed behind the kitchen in 2 holding cells, and they cooked our 3 meals. Our 3 meals were served: breakfast at 8, lunch at 12:30, and supper at exactly 3 p.m. Now, ladies and gentlemen, normally we'll wake up at around 5 in the morning to clean the cells and then to take a shower. After that, the cells are open exactly at 8. We work for 6 hours, not more than that. That will be from 8:30 in the morning until 2:30 in the afternoon. Then the cells are locked exactly at 4, because that's the end of the day. And between 4 and 8 in the evening, because we studied by correspondence with distance learning institutions, that 4 hours, we used it then to do our assignments, to catch up on our studies and so forth. Then for an hour, we'll just sit around, talk about, well, the weather and everything else. But then from 9 until 11:30, we got serious now. We discussed politics. These political forums, discussions, were geared on 2 issues. Our own struggle within the prison, current issues as they were happening within the country, how we could influence the struggle itself, and the most important, the future. We always very much interested to shape the future of this country. And that's why we talked policy, we talked constitution, what type of South Africa we wanted, and so forth. And everything, we documented it. And things were taken out of the country, smuggled. We used the lawyers mostly to smuggle things out of this prison. Lawyers were here almost every day. They were also like prisoners here. To communicate amongst ourselves within the different sections, we used the tennis ball, our hospital here. From time to time, irrespective, if you are not sick, you have to get sick in order to get to the hospital. Then that way you are able to talk. And we also used the cooks, since they were the only ones allowed officially to go to every section to deliver food. So they not only deliver food, but also information. And that is how we even coordinated these hunger strikes. A hunger strike was actually illegal in prison. What they wanted was to find, as they said, the ringleaders in order to punish them. But then they never knew who organizes the hunger strikes. We had structures here in this prison. The highest was called the High Command. It was based in this section, solely for the reason that this is where the leaders were based. Then we had the Central Committee, which was the second highest decision-making in this prison. And it was spread throughout the prison, certain individuals. We had no elections here. We just simply nominated people. And then we had the section committees and the units. And that's how information will flow up and down every day of our lives here. We worked from Monday to Friday. Saturday and Sunday, we did not work. Instead, on a Saturday, they gave us a chance to play sports. One thing that you have to know, ladies and gents, we call this a university, actually, the prison. We call it Makana University, for the simple reason that this is where we studied informal and formal education, where prisoners taught each other. Those who were literate will be taught will teach the illiterates. And also, we learned a lot about politics in terms of the struggle itself. This is where a person will mature. And this is where, of course, you'll get your own formal qualification in terms of these institutions. And we called our league also Makana Football Association. I hope they did tell you who Makana was in the past. Well, Makana was a chap who in the 1800s was fighting the wars of resistance, and he was put here in 1820. He tried to escape on the island together with other guys. They drowned there in the sea because their boat capsized by hitting a rock. They all drowned. But he was not, those were not only people who tried to escape here. The very first person to escape here was in 1659. Then that was Otsumatu. And the other chap in the 1700s, he simply swam, not once, but twice, that way. It's 7.2 kilometers from harbor to Global Strand. And so, ladies and gents, this man, off he went. But whilst he was swimming, they were looking at him, waiting for him that side. So they left him all alone to swim. When he got off, the welcoming party was standing. He was arrested, brought back here. He recovered because he did it again. He swam back again that side. And he was arrested again. But this time they did not bring him on the island. They took him to a country, Australia. He definitely never came back. That's where he died. So, ladies and gentlemen, today we have people swimming regularly now, from here to there. One of those is our national hero in terms of swimming, because he's got a disability. I'm talking about Nathalie du Toit. For South Africans, you'll know who Nathalie du Toit is. And for those who follow the Paralympics, you'll also know who that is. She is one of our swimmers in this country. She swims regularly here. And the water is freezing cold. So...
There are no sharks?
Here? No. Yeah, whales, yeah. Yeah, definitely whales are here. Yeah. They have their season. Okay. Now, ladies and gentlemen, that is a picture of Nelson Mandela. And the man next to him in the picture, that's Walter Sisulu. That Walter Sisulu was the most senior leader of this organization, ANC, who was ever incarcerated. He was senior to Mandela in terms of age, leadership, and everything else. And he's the man who brought Nelson Mandela and Winnie together. And he was the best man in the wedding. Oliver Tambo, who was the president of the ANC, was a cousin to Nelson Mandela's first wife, Evelyn. Now, the picture in the middle is this exercise area before the tennis court and these improvements. It was just plain gravel ground here, not the wall. Even the wall was not there. So when you look at the picture, that entrance or exit is not that one. It's behind the wall. Okay. And prisoners here are crushing stones. And this is from 1963 to 1969. But the picture was taken in 1967. And then that one there, the color, all those guys were in this section. Something I haven't said yet is that there were also prisoners from 3 other countries here. The biggest number came from Namibia. At the time it was known as Southwest Africa, 169. Then 1 prisoner from Botswana, he's in the picture there, and 1 prisoner from Swaziland. Ismail is from Swaziland, he served 20 years. Michael Dingake from Botswana, he served 15 years. Now, the man with the leather jacket, with his hands like this, dark glasses, that's the Botswana guy. And the one with the cap is the leader of SWAPO. His name is Herman Twevo.